Chris.
What's going on?
So, you guys think Biden's speech was pretty good last night?
Thought it was a strong showing,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, I tried to look at it fairly. I would give it a B minus. He mumbled and stumbled it through it fairly well. I'm not a Biden fan, but I would give him a B minus. Except when he said
I don't
the
think there was very
USC
many
football
stumbles.
coach was unalived. Huh?
He said Lake and Riley.
Yeah, the football coach.
Lakin.
No, he didn't say Lincoln. He said Lincoln.
He said Lakin. People hear Lincoln because that's what they want to hear. But I listened to it again.
Okay.
I can hear Lakin.
All right.
I can see his mouth. He says Lakin. And he held up the
I
pen.
heard Lincoln.
Like, what do you guys want? He said illegal. That's exactly what you guys asked him for.
Yeah, I
And,
think
now
it's-
you're just gonna nitpick
Yeah,
this like random ass shit.
right.
It's not. I mean, that's what he said. I'm just
Even
going by
at
what he
that
said.
rate,
I heard Lincoln. If I heard Lincoln, that's all. Her mom.
I'll be honest. I think it's a
wasn't too happy about it.
despicable thing that people are trying to use this to target migrants. It's particularly despicable for a bunch of reasons.
Well, I wasn't trying to use it. I'm just going by what he said.
Sure, whatever.
I mean, I just thought that just seemed kind of strange that after he said, what's more important is the legal killings, right?
That's not what he said.
He did say that.
No, he didn't. He said Lake and Riley out of how many thousands that were unalived by these people.
No, he said, by an illegal, what's more important is the thousands killed by legals.
Literally didn't say that, but okay, I'll give you the full quote.
Okay.
Lake and Riley, but out of the how many thousands that have been unalived. That's the quote.
No, I just listened to it. Hold on.
No, you didn't.
I did. Give me 1 second.
My heart goes out to you, having lost children myself. I understand. But look, if we change the dynamic at the border, people pay these thousands of people being killed by illegals.
Well, what was that? What was that? That thing that I just said?
Yeah, how many? Okay.
Lincoln Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals?
Okay, so the thing that I just said.
Okay, so I mean, okay, maybe
Yeah.
you're right.
You want to
Now,
admit that you were wrong, Chris?
Sure, if he's I thought he said legals for the last word. He might have said illegals.
No.
I'm sorry, it's hard to understand him. But I don't. What's the point? I don't understand what he's trying to say.
He said of how many other people that were unalived by undocumented immigrants.
Of how many people were
He said
unalived by
one of
undocumented.
how many other people were unalived. You just played the clip.
I know, but I'm just trying to understand what he means by that. I wasn't understanding it, I guess. Okay, I apologize. You're right. He said illegals. I thought he said legals. My bad. And didn't he also say that he
No.
cut childhood poverty by 40%?
What?
I don't know about that
I don't
specific point.
I don't know, honestly.
Okay, no problem.
Why aren't the Republicans signing off on the border bill if they think this is such a big deal?
Because, what is it, like 20 million for the border and 100 million for foreign aid or something?
No. This is a bipartisan deal that was agreed upon
Billion.
until Donald
Maybe
Trump
billion.
said don't do it.
Well, I mean, they don't have to listen to Donald Trump.
Okay, but your argument is he's better on the border while
why are they?
simultaneously sabotaging it. So why? And
Again,
why are
there's
they
like
listening
100
to
million
him?
in foreign aid in that bill. Why don't the Democrats
the
really
Republic-
stick it to the Republicans and just make a straight border bill, send it to the House,
they
and then
support.
They did.
say
They
pass
did.
it. Straight border. And if they don't pass it,
They-
I'll agree with you
they
100%.
They
No,
did.
straight border bill.
They
Not the
did.
last one.
The Democrats.
The one you're talking
The
about?
Democrats offered them. Yep, the Democrats offered them a border bill, and the Republicans refused it. They offered them to
With
do a
Ukraine
standalone
and-
bill. The
and-
Republicans refused it. Ukraine was in one of the bills that Republicans wrote into that bill, and Republicans also wrote in the Taiwan and the Israel funding. The border funding was
The
written by
Senate.
all of them. All these 4 points were written, but yes, they were written by the Senate, by all senators, and there was actually, I
Right.
think, congressional representatives in the House that wrote the House version of the bill. Those bills were shut down, and the Democrats said, "Fine, we'll give you a standalone bill," and the Republicans said no.
Well, I didn't see that
So they
bill.
would
I don't
object to
know
it.
nothing about that. Which bill is that?
So it was a proposed one. The Democrats said, "We'll give you a standalone bill," and the Republicans said they wouldn't sign it.
Okay, well, I mean, if that's true, then yeah, they're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, yeah, fair.
Yep.
Alright.
If they, but I mean, I haven't seen that bill. I've never heard nothing of that.
Why
What's
is it
that?
Republicans couldn't bring themselves to applaud? Republicans couldn't bring themselves to applaud things like the PACT Act last night, things like bringing down the cost of insulin, things like infrastructure that they voted against. If you can't stand for that, what do you stand for?
Well, I mean, Nancy Pelosi
Right, the
ripped up the
PACT
speech,
Act of
so
all
I mean,
things.
that's just politics, I guess. I don't like it. I don't think they should have interrupted him at all. I don't like to see that, but that's the way, that's our politicians for you.
Even Democrats showed Trump decorum during all his 4 speeches.
She ripped up the speech. What are you talking about?
She didn't interrupt anything.
Okay,
Mike
well, all
Johnson
right,
rolled
sure.
his eyes the whole time.
Well, he didn't say anything. I mean, that's fine. At least he didn't interrupt. I mean, he could have stood and applauded some things. I agree with you. I'm not saying that. I would rather see him get along than be fighting, but I'm not there. That's not me. I want to see the country get better. I want to see everybody get along. I want to see that.
Well, it's disturbing that Republicans couldn't bring themselves to agree to any of those points there. Things that they themselves
Yeah, I
supported.
agree.
They booed the
I
border
know, I
deal that
agree. I
Biden
don't hate
wanted.
everything Biden does. I can't say I hate everything Biden does. I'm not a fan, but I don't hate everything he does. I mean, it would be nice for them to show some unity
Right.
and togetherness, right? For it to be better for the whole country, don't you think?
In an ideal world, yes, but this isn't your granddad's Republican Party anymore.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, I wasn't into politics not until too long ago, to be honest with you. So I can't really talk about back then.
All right.
And one more
Anything else you
thing.
want to debate?
Yeah,
My heart goes out to
I'm not a professional debater like you guys, so I can't break everything down like that. But what do you think about the FANI Willis hearing? Have you guys watched any of that?
Yeah, we watched pretty much. Well, I've watched all of it. I don't know about
Surprised you got the
Jason, but-
name correct. I think it's a nothing burger at the end of the day. If she gets removed from the case, then so be it. They're going to appoint another prosecutor, but I don't think in any way it affects not only the facts of the case, but also it doesn't present any kind of conflict of interest or any corruption on her part or Nathan Wade's.
Oh, I agree the case will still go on with somebody else, but I watched that whole case,
I think it's a distraction.
and I try to be fair, and I just, in my biased opinion, I guess you could say, it doesn't look good. It didn't look good at all. Now, I don't know all the legal aspects of it, but I'm just saying, by the eye test, it didn't look
I
good.
don't see how.
You don't? Did you
I
watch
don't
it?
see how it doesn't look. I mean, sure, it's questionable that she would have an affair with someone, but like, does that affect the facts of the case? Does that present any kind of conflict of interest or any corruption on her part or anything unlawful being done? No, it really doesn't. I think it's just a matter of two consenting adults being brought into the forefront in a way that ultimately undermines and distracts the very serious charges against Donald Trump.
Yeah, I'm not saying it has anything to do with the Trump's case on the side, whatever that is, it is. But I'm just saying they lied under oath, and I don't think that's a good thing.
They didn't lie.
They did lie.
They didn't perjure themselves.
Okay, well,
Nope,
I guess
didn't
we'll
perjure.
find
About
out
what?
soon. They didn't?
What was the perjury on?
How can you say that they lied?
The relationship.
What did they? How did they perjure themselves? What's the evidence that they did that?
They
Be
said it
specific?
wasn't. Yeah, they said it wasn't before 2021 or something like that.
Yep. And there's no evidence
When
it
it
is.
clearly was.
That's
There's a
true.
lot of
It's
evidence.
clearly
there
not.
is.
There's no evidence that it was.
No.
What evidence?
They pinged them at her house like 1,000 times or something. They have 1,000. If they get them text
it was
messages that they're
35.
trying.
It wasn't. It was 30. It wasn't. It was
Wasn't at her
35
house.
times.
No, it
And
was
it
more
wasn't
than
at
that.
her house. It was the cell tower. No. It was the cell tower. They couldn't even get an expert to testify on their behalf. It was a cell tower that also is connected to the airport and thousands of businesses in that area. So no, it wasn't her house. It was a large area totaling like, I don't know, what would be a mile and a half service
vicinity.
area. 3 mile
Okay.
service area.
And then
something
they
like
also
that.
have them text messages from the other guy saying that they absolutely was before that time.
Yeah, so his argument is that he was speculating, and the judge brought up a good point. How do you know that he wasn't lying in the text? How do you know he wasn't speculating in the text? That he wasn't gossiping?
Well, I mean, you don't, but I guess you have to take what he said. I mean, anybody
You
could be
see?
lying. How do you know anything's true?
You see the problem, right? No, because I can see a situation where someone's like, "Do you think that you think that they're messing around?" And be like, "Oh yeah," and then I have no idea. I like that. That is the least surprising thing on the like. Oh yeah, no, for real, yeah, no problem, absolutely, they're doing it. But that doesn't mean that I know definitively.
Well, like I said, to me on the eye test, it doesn't look good. I mean, you can say what I mean. Obviously, you got your opinion.
So,
I'm just
but they're
saying,
also
on the eye
there's
test, it doesn't
there's
look good.
there's no. What's the detriment to the defense?
They're not supposed to. They lied. I don't know why they lied then.
How does that? But that doesn't affect the defense. It's not a detriment to the defense. And there may be an issue for like a bar hearing, but that doesn't indicate that the defense is somehow wronged in this instance.
Like I said, I don't think it affects the Trump's case personally, like going forward. But I don't think she'll be on it. I don't think, from what I heard, the way it sounded to me, it didn't sound like they're supposed to do any of this stuff. Like I said, I'm not a legal expert, but
There's-
it didn't sound like they're allowed to do this stuff. And then they got these other
so-
text messages that they're trying to get.
No.
If they get those text messages, I guess they have to use some kind of secret something. I don't know what, but if they get those text messages, that's really going to be a problem.
But what
if
is
there's
the
stuff on there.
detriment to the defense? But what is the detriment to the defense? Assuming that they lied even. and perjured themselves. What is the detriment to the defense? Why should she be pulled off the case? Like, what would be the reasoning behind that? Why would it be to the detriment of
I mean,
Donald
I don't know
Trump's
the
defense?
exact legal definition of it, but
Because-
obviously there's something to it, or they wouldn't be doing it.
No, I think they're doing it just because it's Donald Trump. And that's why I can't tell you which way the judge is going to come out. But the reason this is happening in the court that it is because it's Donald Trump. Otherwise, this would not be an issue. The judge would not have taken this up in open court. This would have gone to a ethics inquiry by their prosecutor's office, but it would not have removed her from the case. When you're talking about something detrimental to the case, right? She was removed. I talked about this yesterday. She was removed from prosecuting one of the co-defendants in the case because he was running against somebody that FANI Willis had financially supported in their election campaign. That is a apparent conflict of interest, right? She actively is working to get this guy's opponent elected. That's the detriment. In this instance, though, there's no detriment.
Well, supposedly this guy was paid a lot more than he had no experience. Is paid more than the other prosecutors.
Underpaid.
That's
also
not
not
true at all.
true.
He was incredibly underpaid and highly qualified to do what he's been doing. He never worked for a prosecutor's office, but he had done investigations to this degree. He had done investigations to this degree previously, as well as worked as a defense attorney and a former judge. So no, he's qualified.
Okay, so that merchant lady was lying then.
For both Republicans and she lying?
So
I don't
the
know what
merchant
she said,
lady's
but
lying
my
then.
answer to that would probably be about what? To say that he's not
About what I
qualified
just said.
is crazy. So he has not worked in a prosecutor's office or a prosecutor's capacity. That does not mean that he's not qualified. He's a former judge, a former defense attorney, and he's conducted as special counsel investigations throughout Georgia for both Republicans and Democrats. So even Merchant, by the way, was trying to get Merchant, there's photos of her and texts and all sorts of posts of her trying to get Nathan Wade elected, saying that he's incredibly qualified and morally he's a great person. And now she's up on the stand saying the exact opposite.
Yeah, why is she doing that?
Because she works for Trump now. That's her job, is to say that he's not qualified.
She's not
He's a former judge.
Is she working
He's a
for
former
Trump or is
judge.
she a
He's former
DA in
defense
that?
attorney. She's working
in
for
Atlanta?
Trump. She's Trump's lawyer. Well, she's Roman's lawyer.
But she was a defense attorney in Atlanta, right? Or no?
I don't know.
Or
what
attorney
she did
or DA in
previously. I couldn't
Atlanta.
tell you. I mean, I would imagine she was a defense attorney.
I mean,
But
or I don't think
know.
so. I think
Just
she was a
because you're on
prosecutor.
one side, just because you spend your career on one side of the ball doesn't mean that you can't operate on both sides of them. Like
I thought.
you're
I
trained as
think she was a
lawyer.
prosecutor. I think she was a prosecutor.
I don't know what she did.
I don't either, but I think she was. I mean, obviously she's friends with these people, so she must have worked with them. She knows them all.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I guess the judge is going to decide and hear this week, probably, right?
I don't know what the
Yeah,
timeline is.
next week.
You said 2 weeks, and that was like last Friday, I believe.
I don't know. Yeah, I think it was last Friday. So next week we'll know. I don't know what's going to happen to it though. Couldn't tell you. And the only reason I can't definitively tell you is because Donald Trump. If Donald Trump was not involved, then I could tell you that she's not going to be removed. But
Well, the judge seemed pretty fair to me.
that's
Like
what the law states.
the judge seemed pretty fair to me. Like he was, from what, like from
right.
me
So
looking in,
the only reason that this hearing ever even happened, and the reason that Donald Trump's lawyers were able to investigate to this degree, was because of that. Because typically speaking, in a case like this, the judge will immediately go, "What's the conflict of interest?" before they ever step foot for cross or examination or anything like that. What is the conflict of interest? What evidence do you have that there's a conflict of interest? And establish, is there enough to even have a hearing on this? But in this, like for instance, the other person that she was removed on the case from, right? They came to him and said, well, this is the evidence. There's a clear conflict of interest. This is how it could affect the case, et cetera, et cetera. That didn't happen in this instance. The only reason it happened is because it's Donald Trump. Outside of that, there's no reason it should have.
Okay, that's about all I got. So
Okay.
I guess we'll see what
All
happens.
right.
You guys have a good one.
All right, take care.
Bye.